I'm not sure about you, but I know when I first got into this whole mindful fatherhood thing, I instantly associated the word mindfulness with long period of time. So when I think of, for example, meditation, I instantly thought sitting cross-legged for an hour, right? Things like that. I thought that I didn't have enough time as a busy dad to be mindful. And something that I want to talk about today is I want to give you 5 practices, 5 little things that you could put in your backpack when you're about to head out into the battlefield of being a dad. And these 5 things will help you be mindful in all situations. Think of it like a mindful starter pack for dads. That's what I'm going to call this. I'm going to give you 5 things that will fit into your mindful dad starter pack. The good thing about all 5 of these things are they are intentional, but they are very simple and very practical, which sometimes when things are simple and practical, we think that they won't be helpful, right? We always look for the things that are like algebra equations when it comes to self-improvement. But doing small things over time, that's what's going to regulate your nervous system. And that's where you're going to see the big difference in the long haul. Without further ado, and of course, I'm going to save my personal favorite for 5, obviously, as the 5th one. But anywho, number 1 is going to be ask yourself, what's mine before reacting? Now, this is important because I always talk about that a lot of the times when we react to our children and we get angry and we get frustrated, a lot of the times it has nothing to do with them, but it's usually with something that's bothering us within our day. Your child is calling your name umpteen times because they really want your attention, and you spaz out because you're burnt out at work. Like little things like that. And that's just a surface level. In my last video, I spoke about shadow work and how some of this stuff stems from childhood. But let's think about a real surface level practical situation here. How many times have you reacted instead of responded to your child when you truly, if you got the chance to look back, you truly realize that, man, that had nothing to do with them. That was all about me feeling overwhelmed. That was all about me not feeling valued in my role as dad. That was all about me not getting to do the thing that I thought I was going to get to do. That was all about me eating a ton of junk food when I've been trying to be healthy, right? Like just think about the next time, like the next time you get into these, I would say high intense, or when you're just reacting, you're so frustrated and you're reacting instead of responding to your children, ask yourself, what part of this situation is my issue and what part of it is truly theirs? And that will help you as you go along this journey of mindful fatherhood, because now you're going to start to realize, oh, no, sir, I know why this is coming up. And it's nothing to do with him or her. It's nothing to do with my kids. It's all about what I got pent up inside, my own issues. So that's going to be the first one, is ask yourself, what's mine? And when I say what's mine, think about it this way. Think about you reacting and you're frustrated at your kid, right? Ask yourself, what part of your reaction is truly attributed to your kid versus what part of your reaction is truly attributed to what you got going on internally. That's number 1. Number 2 is going to be for you to take 3 1-minute, I like to call them awareness breaks. I was talking to somebody and they were like, you should say presence breaks. Whatever feels better for you. Presence breaks, awareness breaks. Basically, when we think of sitting in silence and closing our eyes, we always envision it being for 30 minutes, an hour. And we think that we can't attain a level of grounding, a level of calmness if we don't have that much amount of time. And the thing about time in fatherhood is it's all perception. It's all a state of mind, because I guarantee you, the more you start prioritizing your well-being, the more you start prioritizing your inner peace, the time is now gonna come out of nowhere. Oh, I didn't even know I had 25, 30 minutes every morning. But we wanna work up to there. We don't wanna just run the race and run a 400-meter dash right away, and we don't even have the stamina for a 100-meter dash, right? That's the track and field athlete in me talking. But this is why we want to start off with just a few 1 minute presence breaks, awareness breaks. So what that looks like is in the morning, find 1 minute, right? When the world is still, before the kids wake up, before, if you have a wife, or before the spouse wakes up, just 1 minute, 60 seconds to close your eyes and just visualize your day ahead of you. How do you want to show up as a dad? How do you want to show up at work? How do you want to show up for your family? How do you want to show up for the goals that you've set for yourself? Just close your eyes and be still and think about this for 1 minute in the morning. Next thing you're going to do is in the afternoon, you're going to do the same thing. 1 minute. Just close your eyes for 1 minute and how is my day going? Did I do the things I said I was going to do up until this point? How am I feeling? That's it. 60 seconds. If you're at work, go to the bathroom and do it. Go to some jobs they have like a quiet room. Go into the quiet room and do it. Go into the parking lot in your car. Just 60 seconds of silence thinking about your day thus far. And then the last time you're going to do this is at nighttime. 60 seconds. Reflect on your day. How do you feel? Do these practices, have they helped you? Have you realized a difference with the way you communicate with your children? Just sit and think about that. Literally 3 minutes. The more and more you start investing into your inner self, your emotional well-being, you're just going to naturally want to go from 1 minute to 5 minutes to 10 minutes. Next thing you know, you're going to be meditating for 35, 40 minutes consistently. But we want to start small. The third thing is, this is a funny one because I always talk about this and sometimes I catch myself still doing this. And that is, you want to respond without rescuing. So as a dad, as a man, we are hardwired to be very logical and to want to fix everything. Sometimes when my son gets in my car, I could tell by the way he's walking to the car, we had a bad day today, right? And instantly I want to solve it. First of all, tell me what happened. Second of all, this is how we're going to solve this so this doesn't happen the next time. And they don't need that all the time. I remember I was dating this girl many years ago and she was telling me about some stuff she was going through in her personal life. And I just went right to fixing. I was like, oh yeah, this is what you got to do. This is how this works. And she called me out. She was like, listen, I just needed you to hear me, tell me that you understand why I'm upset, why I feel this way. I didn't need resolutions. And children are the same way. Everyone's the same way. You are the same way. Sometimes you don't want the resolution. Sometimes you just want somebody to be a sounding board. And so when I say respond without rescuing can mean your kid gets in the car, you're with your kid at home over dinner, they are telling you about some struggles they are having. And instead of going right to, let me jump in my dad bag and fix this, respond with, man, I hear you. Sometimes with my son, and on a recent podcast episode, I had him on as a guest. He literally spoke on this. He said, you know what, Dad? I really love the fact that you empathize with me a lot. And it's true, right? So all we got to do is say, you know what? Man, I'm sorry you're going through that. I know what that feels like. Man, as a man that played sports in middle school, I know exactly why you feel that way. I've been there before. Find the situations where you truly can empathize and latch on. And so you can, wow, I hear you. I'm here for you, bro. Like, I hear what you're saying. I hear you, baby girl. I really hear what you're saying. And I've been there before. Go that route. Try going that route instead of trying to fix it every single time. So number 3 of the Mindful Starter Pack, Mindful Fatherhood Starter Pack is going to be respond without rescuing. Now, sometimes they need us to rescue them. We know this. Sometimes they need the wisdom, they need the knowledge, but oftentimes they just need us to listen. The fourth one is going to be end your nights, end your days with journaling. I always talk about journaling, right? End your days with reflection. So that looks like opening up a book, grabbing a pen, and just writing down some questions to ask yourself every night. What went well in parenting today for me? Like, I did snap at my son a little bit. That didn't really go so well, but we did have a conversation about it and that went well. All right, what went well today? Man, I oftentimes when I'm overwhelmed with parenting and I'm like, this is too much for me, when I do this at night, I find things that I didn't even think about. I find good things. So sometimes I'll journal at night and I'll be like, man, what went well today with my time with my children and when we did this experience? And I'm like, dang, I start writing down. I'm like, man, my son and my daughter, they were so happy during this time frame. And my daughter gave me the biggest hug, the biggest kiss on the cheeks. Like little things like that comes to the forefront when you start journaling about these things. The next question you can ask yourself is, what didn't go so well today? And then another question you can ask yourself is, how can I show up differently tomorrow? So what went well today? What didn't go well today? And how can I build on that or show up differently the next day? So you want to journal and reflect nightly. And the last one, and this is the most important one, I cannot stress this enough. Okay, it's going to sound corny maybe, but this is what I thought about when I wrote this down. I consider your nervous system as your most important tool in your fatherhood toolbox, right? If this is a toolbox for all the things that you go to when it comes to being a dad, your nervous system being regulated, your nervous system being calm is the number one most important tool. I assure you it is, because if you are not calm, if you don't feel balanced, if you don't feel grounded, you don't respond in ways that you truly want to. Now you start yelling a lot. Now you start being overwhelmed. And I've been there. Sometimes this still happens to me, right? Don't listen to anybody who gives you advice on being a dad that don't keep it real and tell you that I just did this last week, right? Because this is the most important part is we're showing up. The presence. That's what's important, not the perfection. So you're going to grow by default. So maybe you used to snap 3 out of 10 times, but by doing this work, calming yourself down, you realize I'm not really snapping as much as I used to. I may snap here and there. You know how here and there is a world of a difference. It is a huge difference from all the time. I can't even begin to explain the generational cycles here and there versus all the time. Like you're breaking generational cycles by being a self-aware father on a consistent basis. Doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't have to be 10 out of 10. But I keep saying we get this thing 5, 6, 7, dare I say 8 out of 10 times on a consistent basis, man, that's going to change the trajectory of your children and their future. The most important one is to make sure that you are regulating your nervous system. The number one thing I preach all the time to clients about is super simple: box breathing. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 4 seconds, and repeat the cycle. Sometimes I set my timer for 2 minutes and I'll do it. Sometimes I set my timer for 4 minutes and I'll do that. But just find ways to regulate your nervous system. You want to be calm. You want to be level-headed. And without a calm nervous system, you're not going to show up the best way that will benefit not only you, but your family and those around you. And the next thing is attached to this one is, I know sometimes it's so hard to think that in the heat of the moment, I call it live action. When I use live action, when I talk about parenting, I'm talking about your kid is talking back in real time. We got to act now, right? That's what I call live action. And it's sometimes you may feel like in live action, you can't do these things. But I'm here to tell you that you can, because I've done them and they have worked. Sometimes maybe I forget and I don't, right? The situation may call for something else, but I guarantee you there's been so many times where I could sense me about to get real frustrated in parenting. And in the moment, I'll step back. And I'll just breathe and I'll be like, okay. In my mind, I'll say, what's happening here? Is this me or is this them? Or I'll just say, you know what? I'll get back to you. And I'll just go in another room and I'll regulate my nervous system. I'll do some. Definitely ran out of footage while finishing up the fifth one. But as you heard, regulating your nervous system is the number one tool you have in your mindful dad toolkit. Okay. Before I leave, I just want to say thank you to all who watch these videos. Every subscriber, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to all of you who have found my podcast and have followed the show. I really appreciate it. And the last thing I want to say is speak about my journal, my 365 Dad Journal that I created for dads to feel valued in their role, for dads to build self-awareness, for dads to cultivate a mindfulness practice, and most importantly, for dads to break generational cycles and really feel like they have an emotional connection with their children. The journal should be in the description and you can get it on my website. Father's Day is approaching, so I urge you to send the journal to anyone who loves you and let them know this is what you want for Father's Day. I really appreciate you all, and I will see you all next week. Send you all light.